Before this video starts, I would greatly appreciate if you like, subscribe, share, comment, all the above, and make sure you turn those notifications on as well to get alerts for videos when I post them. If you enjoy wrestling content, this YouTube page is for you because we do nothing but wrestling content on this page, so I hope you enjoy. So this is my booking of WrestleMania 40 right here. Let's dive into it. This is how I would book WrestleMania 40. Now, before you watch this, I'm going to do night 1 and 2, and I think my booking is going to be a lot different than other people's, so let's dive into it. Let's talk about night 1 of WrestleMania. Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso is definitely happening. I think most people will know that's going to happen anyway, but I'm definitely booking that for WrestleMania. I'm keeping that. We're booking the brother versus brother, and we're putting it on night 1 of WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre. Why? Well, the one big match they had was in front of nobody, and I feel like, Drew McIntyre's momentum, really picked up after he beat Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship, so I'm going to turn Drew into a bad guy. Lesnar's going to come back, and I'm going to do this match in front of the fans. Same outcome and everything, but I really think this would also, start to boost, Drew back into the world title scene as a world champion that people would want to see. The Judgment Day versus the LWO. Now, here's how I would do it. I know Carlito's a part of the LWO, but just wait. He's going to play a part into this. I would have, Judgment Day versus the LWO just so we can get the Dom and Ray interaction again at WrestleMania, because I really think Dom needs that win over Ray. So the Judgment Day beats the LWO, but they do it because the LWO turns on Rey Mysterio, kicking him out the group, and then, you can insert Carlito as the leader if you want to, however you want to play that factor, but that's how I would do it, because I don't really think Rey needs to be in the LWO. I think he can be fine just by himself. So Rey gets kicked out of the group, they turn on him, Judgment Day would win, and, Dom would get that big victory over Rey, and then that could set up, another big one-on-one match between, Ray and Dom, say maybe at SummerSlam. Rhea Ripley versus Jade Cardill for the Women's World Heavyweight title. I am pushing Jade Cardill to the moon. I'm strapping the rocket to her back, and we're pushing her instantly to the moon. I would have her win the Royal Rumble and, put her in a big match instantly at WrestleMania, because I think she has superstar written all over her. I just feel like, you got to push her immediately to me to make her credible in the women's division, to make her a big star, because if they really don't, I think that's going to be a huge fumble on WWE side. Now, let me explain my process of thinking behind this. This is a 10-man battle royal. Why do I have this 10-man battle royal placed on night 1? Well, we always know they have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal every year, but nobody really cares about that anymore. So this 10-man battle royal will give an opportunity to superstars who may not be able to make the WrestleMania card, because maybe they're not involved in storylines that are going to make the card, because when WrestleMania comes around, not everybody's going to be able to make the card, and I feel like, you got to fit people on the card at least so they can be involved in something, but it has to be something meaningful and important, and that's what this Battle Royal is going to represent, because whoever wins the Battle Royal will get a World Championship match on the respective brand. So if it's a Raw superstar, they will get a World Title match on the episode of Raw after WrestleMania. If it's a SmackDown superstar, they will get a World Title match on the episode of SmackDown after WrestleMania. I think it gives, these people an opportunity to, kind of shine on a big high-profile match, the Raw or SmackDown after WrestleMania. Plus, it allows these particular superstars to at least be on WrestleMania. So I have a mixture of, some top heels, some mid-carders, and maybe some people that you just know won't be involved in anything, high-profile WrestleMania. So they're in the Battle Royal, which gives them a shot to be on WrestleMania and an opportunity to potentially, have a shot at the World Championship. I am bringing back Money in the Bank to WrestleMania. I feel like with WrestleMania being 2 nights, you can have the men's and women's on either respective nights, and we're going to have the women's on night 1, and this is everybody that I would involve in, the Money in the Bank ladder match. You have some star power in here, and you have people who can possibly win by giving them big opportunities. Like, I like the mixture of this ladder match, and it allows, other women, to be involved on the WrestleMania card who may not be involved in anything, because WrestleMania spots are limited. And, there's only so many matches that you can fill in. And I think Money in the Bank is always a high-profile match, especially at WrestleMania. I think it was bigger when it was at WrestleMania, because it's the grandest stage of them all, and it creates opportunities to maybe create new world champions. Like, look at all the people who won Money in the Bank at WrestleMania. Edge, Rob Van Dam, CM Punk, Jack Swagger. All those guys won Money in the Bank at WrestleMania, and they all would end up winning their first world championship because they won the Money in the Bank. So I'm trying to bring that concept back as well. I'm putting Money in the Bank back at WrestleMania with all these women in it. These next 2 matches, I think, are going to throw a curveball in people's way, and some people may like it, some people may not. It just depends on your preference. I have Braun Breaker versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, I know most people probably would have Gunther win the Royal Rumble and go on to become world champion at WrestleMania, which is valid. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I still think there is plenty of time for Gunther to become world champion in 2024. Doesn't necessarily have to be at WrestleMania. It could be at SummerSlam or any other show they want to do. You know, they're going to Germany next year, so that would be a perfect opportunity, you know, to do it right there. I feel like with this run that Gunther is having as Intercontinental Champion, me personally, I think he's the most dominant and the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time at this point, and I feel like the perfect place for him to finally lose and drop the championship would have to be at WrestleMania, the grand stage of them all, and I think Braun Breaker would be the perfect opponent. Braun Breaker can match Gunther's intensity, he can match Gunther's violence in the ring, like he's hard-hitting in the ring like Gunther, like I think the matchup would be well, and I think Braun Breaker has superstar written all over him, and I think when he comes up to the main roster, you have to instantly, you know, boost his credibility up, and I think, you know, you have Braun Breaker come to the main roster and have his first big pay-per-view match be against Gunther at WrestleMania, have him win the Intercontinental Championship, which now puts Braun Breaker in the higher echelon in the mid-card division as Intercontinental Champion because he just dethroned the most dominant Intercontinental Champion of all time, and now you can start to, you know, mold Gunther into, you know, the world title picture. And, you know, like I said, Germany next year would be the perfect place to have it when they go have that premium live event, or SummerSlam. I don't think it necessarily has to be at WrestleMania. Not saying, you know, WrestleMania wouldn't be the perfect opportunity for it, but I just feel like Gunther dropping the IC title at WrestleMania would be the best thing for the championship, and doing it, you know, to somebody like Braun Breaker would just help make Braun Breaker more of a bigger star on the main roster. This main event, though, I don't know how people are going to feel about it, but I have Seth Rollins versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight title. Now, is CM Punk coming back to WWE? As of this moment, we still don't know yet. But if I'm WWE, honestly, I'm going to cop CM Punk and I'm going to bring him in. I think he'd be good for business as long as everything can go well with the, you know, the backstage stuff and everything. As long as everything can go smooth with that, I think he'd be great for business. And I think, you know, majority of the WWE fans would want to see him back. And putting him in the main event of night one would just give him the WrestleMania main event that I feel like he always deserved, that they never gave him, you know, when he was in WWE. And going up against, you know, one of their top stars, Seth Rollins, who, you know, has spoken about how he's not really a big fan of CM Punk. And, you know, if you watch wrestling, you always know, man, some of the best feuds ever are some of the ones that are real personal. Like, some people who have, like, real life beef, like, those are some people who sometimes make the best feuds for TV quality. And I feel like, you know, not saying these two have real life beef, but I can only imagine the promo battles and the build up to this, you know, story and to this match at WrestleMania. It's just, I think it would be great. You know, Seth Rollins is, you know, having a great run as world champion, and Punk comes back. I don't see how he would not want to, you know, go after the top spot on Raw. So I think CM Punk and Seth Rollins would be a great main event for night one. Now, this is how I would book night 2 of WrestleMania. So I already mentioned that I was bringing back WrestleMania during night 1, right? And I'm having the men's and women's on 2 separate nights. We have the women's on night 1, so we gotta have the men's on night 2. And you look at this lineup, I know most people are thinking, okay, there's one guy that sticks out. Why is he in this match? And you're probably thinking LA Knight. Well, LA Knight's in this match because he's winning Money in the Bank. I feel like putting Money in the Bank on him would just be the right thing to do. Like, some people, you know, want him to go on to WrestleMania and fight for the US Championship, win the US title. That would be cool, but based off the fans' reactions, he's becoming so more popular and over, you know, week by week. I think, you know, you got to put him in the world title scene. I feel like he would just fit much better there. It would instantly boost his credibility up to be a bigger superstar on the main roster than he already is. Putting Money in the Bank on him, I think, would be the move, especially if you bring back, you know, Money in the Bank to WrestleMania, which is what I would do. So that's what I'm doing here. Bianca Belair versus Charlotte Flair is a match made in heaven, in my opinion. Non-title match, may I add you. Non-title match. I feel like most fans wouldn't want this match to be for the championship or have either woman even hold the championship or even win the championship at WrestleMania. I just feel like this match doesn't need a title involved. It would be just fine without a championship. It could be just great without a championship. Charlotte Flair has been one of the best in the women's division for years, and Bianca's been one of the best in the women's division for a while now as well. I feel like this is the perfect matchup right here. I mean, Bianca has big victories in all high-profile matches over all 4 horsewomen besides Charlotte Flair. She's beaten Becky and Sasha at WrestleMania, and she's beaten Bayley in, you know, multiple women's championship matches. So, you know, Charlotte is last on the list for Bianca to check off, you know, if it's possible for it to happen. So I feel like this is the right match to do. Now, the SmackDown Women's World Championship match I'm booking at WrestleMania is going to be Io Sky versus Bayley, with Dakota Kai as the special guest referee. You can call it like Damage Control's Implosion, I guess. You know, you either have Bayley win the Rumble, or you have, you know, Bayley get jealous of Io's success and just have her, you know, turn on, you know, Io, and then you get the big match at WrestleMania. Dakota plays, you know, kind of the middle woman in the feud because, you know, with her being the special guest referee, she's going to have to, like, pick a side. You know, you on Bayley's side, you on, you know, Io's side. You're going to have to pick a side at this point. I think Io's the top of her her game. And even though Bayley has been the leader of the group and she's formed the group, she's been the lackluster of the group. She's lost the most matches for the group, and she hasn't even won a championship in the group yet, and she's supposed to be the leader. So I think this gives the big high-profile match for WrestleMania for the Women's Championship on SmackDown, and I think there's a perfect story there to tell for this match to happen. Just like I had the men's battle royal, we're doing the women's battle royal at WrestleMania with the same stipulation. Whoever wins this battle royal would get a women's world championship match either on Raw or SmackDown, depending on what brand you're on. So if you're a Raw superstar and you win this match, you're getting a world championship match on Raw the night after WrestleMania. If you're a SmackDown superstar, you're getting a world championship match on SmackDown, the very first SmackDown after WrestleMania. And this battle royal has a little mixture of everything. It has some big star power for, some fan favorites, has some mid-carders, has some people who really aren't on TV as much, but hey, they're on WrestleMania and they're a high-profile match. Let me cook with this tag team match, because I think this would cook. A Fatal 4-Way tag team match for the tag team titles right here. You have DIY versus the Street Profits versus the New Day versus Pretty Deadly. All great tag teams, man, in their own right, and I feel like this tag team match would be incredible for the tag titles right here. We're talking about 4 of the best tag teams in WWE right now in a high-stake profile match for the tag titles. I love this matchup. Honestly, I really hope this actually comes true. Like, I doubt it will, but if this tag team match actually were to happen, I think it would cook tremendously. Logan Paul versus AJ Styles for the U.S. Championship. I'm having Logan Paul going to WrestleMania as U.S. Champion and going up against AJ Styles, who's, phenomenal for a reason. Still one of the best performers of this decade, man. Even though he's getting a little bit older, he can still go in the ring. And Logan, man, I mean, my gosh, bro, Logan Paul is just such a natural at this. He's proven it time and time again every time he steps foot in the ring. And you put him in the ring with somebody as great as AJ Styles, you can't convince me that the match won't be anything but elite. I'm booking this match for WrestleMania for the U.S. title because honestly I want to see it and I think it would cook tremendously. This is the big nostalgia I'm giving y'all for all the people who were from my era, man. One last time, John Cena versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania for the final time. When I say final time, this will be the last time these two will ever wrestle each other in the ring. It has to be. It's part of the story I'm using. Like, John Cena's already past his prime, already has one foot out the door because he's more Hollywood than ever, so who knows how much longer he'll be sticking around and doing this. I know Randy Orton's currently injured, but I do believe he will be back before WrestleMania next year, and I mean, these two have never had a one-on-one match at WrestleMania, which is criminal, and they have one of the best feuds in WWE history. And their win-loss record, I think, is really interchangeable. John Cena has beat Randy Orton in a lot of high-profile matches, and Randy Orton has beat John Cena in a lot of high-profile matches. And for them to finally have their one-on-one match at WrestleMania for the last time ever, man, I think it'd be a beautiful thing to see, man. Nostalgia at its finest right here. And of course, the main event to me has to be Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes Part 2 at WrestleMania in the main event, running it back again. I know some people would do Roman versus The Rock. That would be the bigger match, obviously, for box office-wise, but if they were going to do Roman versus The Rock, I think this year would have been the best time to do it, but Cody needs that moment, man. He needs that big win. I just feel like, if they don't do Roman versus Cody, it's going to be a slap in the face to Cody. It's going to be like the CM Punk situation all over again, where, CM Punk had this great run as WWE Champion, and he should have been in the main event of WrestleMania 29, but they took the championship off of him before WrestleMania and gave it to The Rock, just so he could give it to John Cena and give John Cena that, validation and that credibility and that big win over The Rock that he didn't get the previous WrestleMania when he lost to The Rock, when he should have beat The Rock at the first WrestleMania, and they should have never had a rematch because it's supposed to be once in a lifetime, but they lied to us. Cody's never had that big moment. He's been chasing that moment ever since, and I feel like if he doesn't get it next year at WrestleMania, they're just stretching it out too far at this point. Roman versus Cody, I feel, is the right main event for Night 2 of WrestleMania. You have the rematch. It's the right thing to do. It's the match that I'm booking. Some people may agree and disagree with my bookings. I think everybody's process of thinking, is a little bit different when it comes to wrestling. But hey, that's what makes us wrestling fans, right? We have our own ideas and our own opinions of how, things should be structured. And that's okay. If you agree with it, that is dope. If you disagree with it, it's also great as well. This is just my ideal WrestleMania and how I would book it. I feel like you have your high-profile matches. You have your matches where may have superstars who aren't involved in anything, but they're still involved in high-profile stuff like Money in the Bank or the Battle Royal where you can get a world title opportunity. Plus, you have some dream matches too, and you have, final matches that you will ever see. I feel like this WrestleMania would be extremely valid if it did happen, but we all know this won't be the WrestleMania card. I'm not the booker, right? But make sure you guys subscribe, like, share, comment, and turn the notifications on, man, for this YouTube channel. If you like this video, I greatly appreciate it, man. If you have suggestions of, other things you want me to book or rebook, let me know in the comment section below.